Hi everyone, welcome to another session of Core Units Tool. Today we're going to go through Sablier. We have Paul Rasmussen here from the team, and he's going to walk us through and hopefully answer all of our questions. Again, if you want to interrupt at any point, feel free. And yeah, Paul, if you want to give a quick introduction of who you are.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I founded Sablier 2 years ago in 2019, and it's a money streaming protocol and app. The idea is that you put in some money and then it starts incrementally going in small batches to the recipient, and that's the idea. In the meantime, we've been acquired by HiFi, which is a fixed rate lending protocol, also on Ethereum, and I'm now part of the HiFi team. But we are also maintaining Sablier as like a public good, as a product that anybody in DeFi and Ethereum can use. And yeah, I mean, it's still going. We have quite a few users, and I'm very happy to be here to present it.
Yeah, that's great. It's great having you. I don't know if you want to share your screen or to give us a very brief intro.
Oh, and by the way, Sablier goes a long way with Maker. In 2019, we got a small grant from Rich, so we will forever be grateful for that. Like Sablier wouldn't have happened without that. So, always grateful for your early support.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rich decided to take some time off Maker, but we're waiting for his return at some point, hopefully.
Yes, so what you're seeing here is our stream creation page. It's a dashboard where you can see all the streams that you created. And the way Sablier works is that you go through this stream money button, and then you have this sidebar here, and you will have to deposit to lock a specific amount of money that's going to be streamed over a specific duration. And after the moment you create it on this page, it will start every second allocating a small amount of money to the recipient. And that's money streaming. It's money streaming at the smart contract level, because the money is trustlessly held in our smart contract. And this is where you can create it. So let me go ahead, and I'm gonna use Rinkeby to save on gas. And I'm gonna use it like a testnet version of DAI. And let's say that one of the more common use cases is you have an employee that is remote abroad, and you want to pay them in real time, not like monthly or bi-weekly, because that's so Web 2. In Web 3, you can do this like every second, right? So let's say you want to pay them, I don't know, let's say 10,000 DAI, and the duration is going to be, for the sake of simplicity, let's say that's going to be 100 days, because the math works out very, very neatly this way. And that's going to be something like 100 DAI per day, and you can divide even further by 24 hours, and you get something like, I don't know, 4 DAI or something per second. And we will see in a bit how that looks in the active streaming page. But for now, let me select my second account here. Getting that address.
Are you guys on any kind of L2, or that's coming, or it's not?
We're actively exploring solutions. I think it's a coordination problem right now, where everybody is like, what is the next person gonna do? And I think we have to wait for the big exchanges to make the first move, and then we will follow. But at the moment, there is a community built version of Sablier using the same contracts and almost same UI on XDAI. So if you have DAI liquidity on XDAI and you want to use it there, you can go ahead. There is a link on our Twitter feed. But yeah, so mainnet and XDAI for now.
And
right? So
going back to the example, if I say I want to give you, I can't remember if your example was 1 die per day or 10 or 100 per day, would I need to lock all the die up front?
yes, this is the current behavior, and you could imagine doing something like batches of streams where once every 3 months or like once every 6 months you deposit the money here, and then it's still streamed by the second, but you as a creator, you just batch these transactions over time. Another option, which is more interesting, is you could deposit compound die, and there's an option to keep the interest to yourself. So you could pay your employee a fixed amount of DAI, but the interest that gets generated in the meantime from compound gets kept to you as the company or the stream creator.
Nice. And as the money is streamed to the employee, I imagine that the returns that you make are lower and lower, right?
Yes, because a small amount of money gets allocated to the employee every second. So you're only receiving on what's yours, of course. It's streaming, yeah.
And I guess that the main use case for this, let's say I wanted to pay pros for the month of April. I guess that the use case is if pros decides to leave or not. Yeah, if he decides to leave before, I could just cancel the streaming.
Yes, and let me go ahead and create a stream, and then we can see how you can cancel and withdraw from an active stream, because you do have that ability. So after the stream is created, let's say that 10 days pass. Well, 10 days times 100 per day, that gives 1,000. So you will be getting back 9,000, and the employee will be receiving 1,000. So 9 and 1, and that's just the allocation that was streamed over the first 10 days. But yeah, if you were to keep it until the end, they would get everything. So you can cancel at any point in time. So yeah, I created a stream. There's a small delay after it gets created. It starts now, so it will start in 5 minutes. There's a buffer, so we account for the time it gets to process the transaction on Ethereum mainnet. But as I said, if you go to the creator page, which is this pay, there is a cancel button on the right-hand side. So if you were to cancel this, you would get, at this point in time, all the money back.
That's good to know. I mean, potentially you would get all the money. Oh, sorry, Pros, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, one. I was just gonna ask, so how does it function with like gas charges? Like how efficient is it on the kind of employer end?
We have our gas costs on our documentation, and I can't tell off the top of my head, but let me open it and check here. So yeah, it's like 250K to create a stream, and then for every action, it takes 90K to withdraw. So relatively cheap for the receiver to withdraw, to claim the money. But if you want to cancel, then it's 120K, and if you want to create it, it's 250, which I think are pretty reasonable costs compared to, I don't know, like Curve or like other protocols in DeFi that take, I don't know, like 1 million. Yeah, so you have to pay gas for every interaction.
Okay, I was wondering how it works from a technical point of view. I guess that the DAI doesn't move from the smart contract. It just changes ownership. So you potentially have two pools, and you're changing ownership block to block or minute to minute. I'm not sure. And then the employee has the withdrawal rights on one of the blocks, the receiving one, and then the other one. Okay, that's smart.
That's the idea, yes. And you can think of this as like a very short-term smart contract wallet that keeps accruing money for users. And then when the stream is ended, basically the smart contract wallets gets terminated, in a very technical, terms here. But yes, like that's one good way to put it. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I wonder what those prices are in USD in today's crazy gas prices. Maybe it's better not to know.
Probably something to create a stream, probably something between $40 and $50. To withdraw, that's something like 10 or 15. Yes.
Okay, depending on the salary, it's not that bad. Are there any questions from anyone in the audience before I keep shooting?
Hey, Paul, this is Frank here. Were you guys the inventors of the ERC 1620?
Yes, I authored that in 2019 or 2018. Yes, and Sablier is an extension of ERC 1620, but with a nice UI and a more polished implementation. That so far so good, like no bugs. It's bug free since 2019. So yeah, it's ERC 1620 extended.
Oh, that's super cool. So you could actually use this also for streaming residual, maybe like NFT royalties, right? So if somebody puts out a NFT, they're doing it already. Like one of the DJs is selling one. Can't remember his name, but anyway, so you can actually get streams for royalties with the 1620.
I don't see why that couldn't happen. In fact, I've seen a startup, was like 2020. They were doing some sort of like lending platform for NFTs where they were using Sablier to stream the royalties. So it can happen. There's nothing that stops you from using this in your own NFT protocol. So totally doable. Yes. I think we can go on even more complex layer here and make the streams themselves a non-fungible token. That would be pretty cool because you could give your stream to somebody else, or you could use it, or you could lock it as collateral for something else. So there are certainly very interesting things that you can do with when you combine the idea of like streaming plus NFTs.
Oh wow! So I could so hypothetically, you could send a stream to me to as my payment, and then send it to, I don't know, maybe my cousin who needs money in South Africa or something. You could do something like that, huh?
Yeah. Or
awesome.
You could lock it up in like a credit protocol and maybe get a loan on that. It's sort of like under collateralized in a sense. I mean, it depends on how much you're getting, if you're getting the loan in real time as well. But yeah, I mean, certainly interesting things can happen if we tokenize this as non-fungible tokens. For now, there's no implementation by us for this, but it's on our radar. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
No worries.
Thank you, Frank. Any other questions?
Just out of curiosity, like how, sorry, one. Just out of curiosity, like how long is the average stream most users are doing? Like, is it like a month-to-month thing for most people, or do people experiment with like longer, like say like annual salary?
Most of them are longer term because of two reasons. The first one is that the highest paying users are people who vest tokens, DeFi governance tokens with Sablier, and they're vesting them over 3 to 4 years time. One good example is MStable, who literally put all of their investor money in Sablier, and all of their investors from Germany, from the US, they're all on the same platform here and claiming their return on investment through Sablier. So it's definitely long term from that perspective. But I would suppose that also gas matters here, because even if it would be more kind of like easier from an accounting perspective to do like monthly streams, the gas costs add up. So it's easier to just do like 1 year long stream. And one good example for this is SushiSwap, who I think in September or October, they did like a 1 year long stream to all of their employees, and that was USDC. So the reasons vary, but the average length is for sure 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, something like that. And until you guys have like other questions, what I wanted to explain here is that the stream that we created before started, and you can see the money being accrued by the second. And yeah, like if you're logged in with your recipient account, which I am in this case here, you can tap the withdraw button, and then the max button, you can max out, and you will withdraw your money to your wallet, and then you can do whatever you want. If you come back later, even 1 second later, you will be able to withdraw even yet again something, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's how it works. For the recipient, it's just like this page and this withdraw sidebar, and that's it.
Will you support any ERC20 token, I guess, then, right?
Yeah, it's compatible with any token. We're working on implementing token lists, but for now, it's like a manually defined list of ERC20 tokens. We have quite a few. There have been many requests on, not on this page, but if you go to mainnet, we have like 100 or 200 tokens. So yeah.
Nice. And well, I think it was last week that we had John from Gnosis commenting that the multi-sig wallet has direct integration with Sablier. So I was wondering if you can comment on any other type of integrations that you find interesting.
Yes, so we do have an integration with Gnosis, and actually many of the teams that I mentioned that put in a lot of money for long term, they use Sablier through Gnosis. You know, having the multi-sig is a benefit, and I actually have it here. So the UI is kind of the same, is the same form. You have to put in an amount, the recipient, when it should start, when it should end, and you can choose tokens. I'm on Rinkaby again, so only DAI and ETH are available, but yeah, you can use any token you want. So Gnosis has been a huge like avenue for us to get more users. And in the future, we're looking to get Sablier listed on more maybe DeFi indexers, because now we are not listed on maybe like DeFi pools or things like that, even if we do have a reasonable amount of TVL, total value locked. But I think we are on DeFi DBank, which is kind of like Zapper for I think they're catering to the Asian market. And we're also looking to add an insurance dimension to Sablier, but I can't comment more than that for now. Yeah.
Good stuff. And do you guys make money in any way, or it's just like a cool project?
It's a public good. The contracts have no fee whatsoever, so it's free to use, yes.
Okay, so I guess there's no token launch coming soon where people can benefit from.
I mean, the organization that owns and like Sablier is Hi-Fi, and we do have a governance token for our lending protocol there, but they're not related. Sablier is just like this payments app, and I think it's sort of in the middle, as in it's not like this wildly successful DeFi protocol like Maker, of course, but it's not dead, and it's not going to be dead anytime soon. So it's something in between, where it's like a public good, an open source tool that is nice to use, and I love it this way. I think it's something that is worth to share, and in the fact that we have like global reach through Ethereum is kind of cool.
Totally. Are there any more questions for Paul? Maybe David or Tadeo. I need to put people on the spot, otherwise they become too shy.
Yeah, I guess the thing that I'm wondering about is as a would-be core unit facilitator, like we're going to be paying people out using Opolis, right? And I'm curious if the people that are, contributors that want to take crypto payments, if they want to accept crypto payments from Opolis, I'm wondering if Opolis would pay them out through Sablier. Like, did you guys have any conversations with them and other like crypto payroll providers?
So I'm not familiar with Opolis or the company that you mentioned,
Got it.
but we are not catering to the legal
Yeah.
dimension of where crypto meets the law.
Right.
There have been some experiments in this way. If you know Ross Campbell from formerly called the Lao, he was doing some experiments where he attached like a PDF that was encoded in a smart contract that was a legal representation of like a freelancer contract that was paid through Sablier. That was it. That was like an experiment. Then once you could possibly copy and paste that PDF document and use it on your own, but that's how far it gets in terms of like what support we offer.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, cool.
I guess that potentially anyone could use your service and just if they want to set it up, there's nothing. I mean, it's not that you're just catering to users or.
I mean, it does sound
no
like
need
it's better, like it's catered better to salary employees and like fixed term, term in terms of time and like compensation agreements, but not really good for like part-time hourly people whose hours might vary week to week.
That is true. Although there are ways in which you can implement this that could be plugged into like a time tracking software. If you think about something like Zendesk, where you have like this customer support staff that, they log in and log off very frequently. Well,
Yeah.
you could theoretically start the stream every time those support staff log in, and then you turn off the stream.
Yeah. There's just like an automation step that has to happen there, right?
Precisely, yes. We don't offer that automation step, but open source, anyone could build it in theory.
Nice.
Is there a way to pause the stream instead of canceling it?
No. We kept the implementation rather minimal for security purposes. Security was very important.
Can you stream like from one pool to like multiple agreements or addresses or whatever?
Well, if you set the recipient as a contract that implements your logic that has 10 recipients.
Okay.
Yeah, you can, of course. It's just a question of like middleware contract.
Understood. Got it.
So like potentially.
What are you thinking about, David?
No, I'm honestly, I'm just thinking about practically, like if I as a facilitator want to offer this to, members of our team, like, what hoops do I have to jump through, or like what should I be considering? Like, what are my options? What's the easiest way to do it? Like, those are all the questions that are going through my mind.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like, it would be really cool to plug this into Toggle and like have it so that, all right, like every single hour that they register on their Toggle, it just like automatically changes the stream configuration, and like they're able to get that hour pretty much immediately streamed to them, right? Like even as they work, potentially, like if there's low enough latency with integration. But yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of potential, but there needs to be like more tooling that would make it easier for people like me.
I agree. There's a long way to go before this is really bulletproof for payroll. But I guess it's a question of like optimization versus being very generic, like generic. And we kind of like try to keep the protocol and product generic in the sense that it can be used for vesting. It can also be used for like this very DeFi, libertarian kind of like payroll system global that is accessible by anyone. So
I mean, this is the dream.
yeah, like no PDFs, just a stream, right? But I know there are some like steps in between this stream and the current state of the world. But yeah.
Pros, you had a question. I think I interrupted you.
I was just thinking out loud that potentially you could even integrate it into like the keg when we get that online for David's purposes if you're trying to stream into something that then splits it further.
Oh, actually,
the keg.
that's a good point. Like if let's say we were to stream not to employees as compensation, but rather to core unit treasury wallets, right? Just for, instead of doing like a monthly payment, maybe the budget implementation would be a stream. Like that's an option, right? That would be cool.
Interesting. And then everybody who has ownership of that multisig, I suppose, will decide what to do with the real-time accruing money in the multisig stream. Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that like logistically will make it easier or harder. Like I imagine some teams will want to have some like reserve there on top of a stream, and like they want to maintain like some amount of float to make sure that they meet all their obligations with regards to like salary payments and all that stuff. So yeah, just I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
I guess a more interesting way in which Sablier could benefit a maker is vesting. I don't know what settlements you have or agreements you have internally, or what tool you are using, and if you have any vesting anymore. I know that the project is like 4 or 5 years old, but if you still do, well, like Sablier is heavily used for this purpose, and it would be like a very transparent way to let the community know that everybody who still has fasting from the internal team are doing this in like a transparent way that can be publicly verified by any Ethereum user. But yeah.
Paul, do you support any type of exponential streaming instead of linear?
I actually thought about that, and I tweeted last year. It's certainly an interesting area. We don't support it for now, but I know that there are some cases in investing where this makes sense, where you want to reward people more the longer they stay in the team. So maybe something like a quadratic growth where just doubles for like triples in the second or third year. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm super curious about the roadmap for Sablier. Like what like how big is the team? Like is there any funding that you guys are like trying to get? And what are the main things that you guys are focusing on for the next year?
So the project is really funded by Hi-Fi, and let me open the website. It's being actively maintained by the Hi-Fi team, and that's me, Clement, Ahmed, the main developers of like Hi-Fi, and for now the plan is to explore layer 2. We do have some very interesting ideas for solving the like having to lock up the money problem, where you could create a stream without having to put in everything for the whole period. So that'll be the main highlight in terms of like a roadmap, and certainly layer 2, just because it really becomes unbearable for many of our users to just make a payment. It's $50. So layer 2 and solve the lockup problem.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that answer.
Paul, there's Alex that writes on the chat, how many stages before Hi-Fi will be on final version and ready to be used 100%? Any plans?
I mean, we are actively developing the so-called version 1 of Hi-Fi. For now, we have like a public beta. I can't give an estimate for that. It's gonna be relatively soon this year, but I can't give an estimate. Yes, we are working on making the market making much better for our FY tokens, for our essentially bonds. So that's the main goal, to make it more capital efficient and just the pricing become better. Yep.
Sounds good. I think we covered everything, Paul. I don't know if we're missing something, or
Yeah, I
if
think
there's
so.
any crazy use case that maybe we haven't thought of, and you think that it would inspire our team.
Well, I did mention the NFT use case where you have like a stream as an NFT, and then you can use that as a collateral. I think that's really interesting, and there are many dimensions to that haven't been explored to their fullest. But then, yeah, I mean, it's just, you can use this for any situation where you have like a recurring payment, and for now we are like locked in this monthly periods, right? You can use this for like rent. Imagine using Sablier, to stream money to like a hotel. You just stay there for like 5 hours and then you go. And I wonder, to what extent a world in which money streaming is really recognized as a money primitive, to what extent the world changes around that, as in, does the pricing for renting become better or not? Does it become different? Is the world more fluid? I don't know, but those are interesting consequences if this really takes off, not just for our product, but I mean, if all the banks, if all the protocols, if all the payments apps just enable this by the second model. So those are some interesting food for a thought. Yeah.
Sounds great. Okay. If there are no more questions, Paul, where can people find more about you or Sablier or Hi-Fi?
We're on Twitter, so that's the main stage. It's Sablier HQ. And also on Discord, the link is on Twitter, and same for Hi-Fi. This is our main avenue for social interactions. It's Twitter and Discord. Hope to see you there. And of course, our website is sablier.finance if you want to use the app. And then you will be given the links to the apps.
Sounds great. So thanks a lot, Paul, for your time. It was great having you.
I thank you.
Yeah, we will talk soon. Thanks, everyone.